What if the cure for a dying mafia prince wasn't found in the finest hospitals, but in the quiet hands of a girl no one saw coming? This is a story of power, prejudice, and a miracle no one expected. If you believe true healing comes from the heart, not the headlines, smash that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what happens next. The rain hammered Manhattan like judgment from the sky. The night Salvatore Sal Moretti collapsed. At 22, Sal was heir to one of the city's most feared crime families, charismatic, ruthless, and untouchable. But that night, as he crumpled onto the marble floor of his penthouse, clutching his chest like his ribs were caving in, even his father's empire couldn't shield him from the truth. Something inside him was dying. Over the next 6 months, 100 doctors tried and failed to save him. Neurologists, cardiologists, even specialists flown in from Zurich and Tokyo. They ran every test, prescribed every drug, whispered words like autoimmune cascade and idiopathic organ failure. But Sal only grew weaker. His skin turned sallow, his eyes hollow. The Moretti name could move politicians and silence witnesses, but couldn't stop a body shutting down for reasons no one understood. Vincenzo Moretti, the Don himself, stood in the hospital corridor one evening, his tailored suit soaked from the storm outside, voice low and trembling. Find someone who can fix him. Anyone. I don't care if they're a witch or a street healer. Just bring my son back. That's when Nurse Evelyn Carter mentioned her daughter. She's unusual, Evelyn said, wringing her hands. She'd been cleaning the hospital's private wing for 15 years. Quiet, efficient, invisible. No one knew she'd raised a child alone in a cramped Bronx apartment, let alone that her 19-year-old daughter, Amara, had spent her childhood poring over medical journals salvaged from hospital trash bins and teaching herself herbal remedies from her late grandmother's Caribbean traditions. She's not a doctor, Evelyn added quickly, but she sees things others miss. Vincenzo scoffed. You expect me to trust my son's life to a cleaning lady's kid? But desperation has no pride. Amara arrived the next morning, not in a white coat, but in a faded hoodie and worn sneakers, her dark eyes scanning Sal's room like a detective. She didn't speak to the doctors. She didn't ask for charts. She sat beside Sal's bed, placed her palm gently on his forearm, and closed her eyes. Minutes passed. Then she whispered, his liver's screaming, his guts on fire, and his immune system. It's attacking everything because it thinks he's the invader. The lead physician scoffed. That's not how immunology works. Amara turned to him, calm but unflinching. Then why hasn't anything worked? She requested a full stool sample, blood work for heavy metals, and, most controversially, a complete elimination of all hospital-prescribed medications for 48 hours. The medical team revolted. Vincenzo nearly threw her out, but Sal, barely conscious, rasped, "Let her try." What followed defied logic. Amara discovered Sal had been poisoned, not by an enemy, but by his own lifestyle. Years of designer supplements laced with unregulated compounds, combined with chronic stress and a genetic predisposition to histamine intolerance, had triggered a catastrophic immune meltdown. The mystery illness wasn't rare. It was self-inflicted, masked by privilege. Using a blend of activated charcoal, targeted probiotics, bone broth fast, and a strict low-histamine diet, Amar began reversing the damage. Within a week, Sal sat up. Within 2, he walked. Within a month, he was laughing, really laughing, for the first time in years. Vincenzo, humbled and stunned, offered Amara anything: money, a mansion, a seat at his table. She refused it all. I just wanted to help, she said, not become part of your world. But worlds collide. Sal, reborn, became obsessed not just with his health, but with Amara. He followed her to the community college where she studied integrative medicine on scholarship. He funded her tuition anonymously. He watched from afar as she healed others the system had abandoned. The diabetic janitor, the asthmatic single mom, the veteran with chronic pain. And then one evening, he found her cry behind a hospital dumpster, her hands raw from scrubbing floors after a double shift. Why do you do this? He asked softly. You could be a doctor, a real one. She wiped her eyes. Because real healing isn't about titles. It's about seeing people, asterisk really asterisk seeing them. That night, Sal made a vow. He'd leave the family business. Not out of fear, but out of purpose. He'd use his resources to build clinics where science and soul worked together, where no one was turned away for being too poor or too complicated. Vincenzo raged. "You're throwing away a legacy." "No," Sal replied. "I'm building a new one." 10 years later, the Moretti name meant something entirely different. The Moretti Wellness Collective operated free clinics across 5 cities, blending cutting-edge diagnostics with holistic care. Sal, now clean-shaven and wearing scrubs instead of silk suits, walked the halls not as a prince, but as a partner, side by side with Amara, now Dr. Amara Carter, MD, PhD in immunogenomics. They weren't married. Not yet, but everyone knew they were each other's anchor. Their biggest challenge came in the form of a 12-year-old girl named Lila Chen, admitted with symptoms eerily similar to Sal's a decade earlier. Unexplained fevers, joint pain, cognitive fog. Top hospitals had labeled her psychosomatic. Her parents, immigrant restaurant owners, were bankrupt from tests that found nothing. Amara recognized the pattern instantly. It's not in her head. It's in her environment. While Sal coordinated with environmental health experts, Amara dug deeper. She visited Lila's home, a basement apartment near a shuttered factory. There, in the water pipes, they found it, lead and industrial solvents leaching into the tap water for years. The city had known, done nothing, but as they prepared to go public, threats arrived, not from street thugs, but from a powerful pharmaceutical conglomerate funding the city's urban renewal projects. They didn't want a scandal. They wanted silence. One night, their clinic was vandalized, windows smashed, patient records burned, a note left on Amara's desk, asterisk, "Stop digging, or the next fire won't be symbolic." Asterisk, Sal wanted to call his old contacts, men who solved problems with bullets. But Amara stopped him. "We don't fight fire with fire. We fight it with light." Instead, they live-streamed everything. Amara presented the data. Sal shared his own story. Lila's parents spoke through tears. Within 48 hours, national news picked it up. Protests erupted. The EPA launched an investigation. The corporation backed down. The city replaced every pipe in the neighborhood. Lila recovered. But the victory came at a cost. During the chaos, Amara discovered she was pregnant. And during a routine scan, the technician froze. "Dr. Carter, there's something unusual with the placenta. I think you need to see a specialist." The diagnosis was rare. Placenta accreta, a condition where placenta grows too deeply into uterine wall. High risk of hemorrhage. Possible hysterectomy. Possible death. Sal went pale. No, not after everything. But Amara, ever steady, squeezed his hand. "We've faced worse." The night before surgery, she sat with Lila, now healthy and bright-eyed, drawing pictures of babies and butterflies. "Will your baby be a healer too?" Lila asked. Amara smiled. "Maybe. Or maybe they'll be a scientist. Or a teacher. All I know is they'll be loved." The surgery was grueling. For 3 hours, Sal paced outside, replaying every moment of the past decade, how a girl with no name had saved his life, then his soul. How she taught him that legacy isn't built on fear, but on faith in people. When the surgeon finally emerged, exhausted but smiling, Sal collapsed to his knees. Mother and child, both safe. In the quiet hospital room afterward, Amara held their newborn daughter, whispering, "Welcome to a world that needs healers." Sal kissed her forehead. "She's got your eyes." "And your stubbornness," Amara laughed softly. Outside, the city buzzed on, unaware of the quiet revolution happening in rooms like this, where power wasn't taken but given, where healing wasn't transactional but tender. Outro, what would you risk to heal someone you love? If this story moved you, subscribe and hit the bell, because real change starts with stories that refuse to look away.